Well, we haven't had to listen to that song in a long time. Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montia. Of course, I'm occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. This man next to me is our father. He's our overlord. He is our Jacob. It's the father overlord Jacob himself. And we are here to talk about the Diamondbacks dropping this series opener by a score of 6-4 to the Phillies. Of course, we are presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why it is never ordinary at Bet365. And of course, Jacob, it is never ordinary when you're watching the Arizona Diamondbacks play a baseball game, especially one day removed from an impromptu doubleheader that they really didn't know was coming, right? Based on weather delay and everything. But no excuses here. The Diamondbacks had plenty of opportunities in this game to score, and they really offensively dropped the ball. I don't know, is that cliche to say? Is that a pun? I don't know. But offensively, they had opportunities that they didn't follow through for. This team has been really good, by the way. This is only the second loss post-game show we've done in the last 30 days.
Is that good, Derek?
It's pretty good.
That feels good.
It's pretty good. But, the Phillies, they were better tonight. And, of course, the Phillies are a better team than what they've been doing since the All-Star break indicates. They have the second worst record since the All-Star break, tying, I believe, the Atlanta Braves, of course, second to, of course, the White Sox. But they're still a very dangerous team, and they proved that tonight. I think offensively, it was more frustrating to watch them tonight than what the Phillies did to the Diamondbacks. I mean, the bullpen wasn't sharp today. They did not shove today. Jordan Montgomery looked pretty good. I mean, through at least the first 5 innings, and then things fell apart there in that 6th inning. But his changeup looked outstanding. He got 6 whiffs on that tonight, which is something that obviously we know he struggled with getting whiffs, swing and miss on any of his pitches.
Yeah, I mean, I told you this before we jumped on. It felt like like you said, it felt like a team that played a doubleheader yesterday. Like, Jordan Montgomery was definitely better than we've seen him in the past. Unfortunately, it was still a combined 11 hits and walks over 5 2/3 inning, which is not an ideal number.
No,
but if you look at that Phillies lineup, that's not exactly the easiest lineup to chug through. I mean, you're facing Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Real Muto, who just seems to dominate in Arizona. Like, I don't really know what it is about this ballpark, but JT Real Muto really, really loves hitting here. It's a gauntlet. I mean, look, you're not going to win every game. I would have liked to see a little more fight out of the bats tonight. Obviously, they scored 4 runs, but a lot of the at-bats didn't look like the prototypical at-bats that we had been seeing over the last month or so. A lot of guys seemed like they were headed up to the plate, and they were just kind of hacking away and hoping that they were going to hit something.
Let's talk about Ketel's at-bats.
Sure.
Ketel's at-bats were specifically bad tonight. Like,
I mean, the 8th inning at-bat, the 8th inning at-bat was horrible.
He had some of his most impatient at bats that I've seen from him all season long. Mm-hmm. And, we've talked about it, right? We know that we have gotten used to Ketel kind of being the hero there in the 9th inning. We've gotten used to Ketel getting things started early for this team, and it just didn't happen for him tonight. It just very much felt like, again, I can only wonder how much the double header yesterday and the short travel day and everything that they had impacted this team. They also didn't take batting practice before the game. Not that that's actually usually been a benefit for them and not a detriment. But I mean, Ketel just had some really bad at bats. And of course, when you don't have his production, when you don't get the production from a lot of the lineup, like they didn't get from the lineup today, you're not going to win many games, especially against a team as good as the Phillies. I think Jake McCarthy said it. He said it here in the chat. He said, coming off a doubleheader, to be honest, 6-4 against the best team in the NL is still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And the Diamondbacks, at least, they fought back on a day where it very much looked like they were, of course they got out to an early lead, but this game felt weird with the lack of scoring early on and kind of the back and forth pitching battle. They made the Phillies starting pitcher Colby Allard, and no disrespect to him, I'm just not familiar with his game, obviously, but they made him look phenomenal today. And this was a pitcher who we speculated might have been a bullpen start for the Phillies, and instead he kind of came out and shoved, only
Gave
allowing
him
the 1
5
run.
innings. Yeah. No, I mean, there were a lot of things that factored into this loss tonight. And it, like, at the end of the day, you could look at it's 6-4, right? There was a lot of things that they did wrong, and they were within 2 runs. Like, this is a baseball team that, for better or for worse, keeps themselves within striking distance. And you just never know on any given night. And tonight wasn't their night. Like I said, they're not going to win every single baseball game. It is a little concerning that they made somebody. I think I said it in the Discord. It felt like they were taking at bats like it was May again, right? When they were in the middle of like that giant slump, it just felt like they were just everybody was up there trying to hit for themselves. Nobody was trying to link any at bats together. It was just kind of like a let's swing for the fences and hope a couple of them go out tonight.
You know what it looked like to me, if I'm being honest? It looked like they were trying way too hard.
Sure.
And that coincides with what you're talking about. It looked like a team going out there trying to desperately beat a Phillies team that they wanted to beat. And of course, the Phillies have had their number. We know we had their number in the playoffs last year, but the Diamondbacks did not have a good series against the Phillies. And shortly after that, they lost to the Phillies, they lost to the Twins. And that's when they kind of went on the run that they're currently on. It felt very much like they were desperate to win today's game when they don't really need to be, and I get it, because deep down inside, these teams want to beat each other. The Phillies probably really want to beat the Diamondbacks,
sure,
and just put it to them for what happened in the NLCS last year. The Diamondbacks probably feel the same way about the Phillies, that they want to prove that it's not a fluke and that they can beat the best team in the National League. And that was not the case today. There was a solo home run from Gino Suarez in the fifth inning. It was his 17th of the season, but even his other at-bats looked more like some of those old Gino at-bats we saw early on in the season.
Yeah, we were debating this actually in the Discord, which at bat was worse in that inning. Gino swinging at 4 straight pitches, including one that was basically halfway into the left-handed batter's box, or Kevin Newman staring at strike 3 right down the middle with a runner in scoring position. And it was quite the debate we had. And if that does not sum up what the offense looked like tonight, I don't know what else could.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one guy deserves his flowers because he was dialed in, and that was Jake McCarthy. Jake continues to be dialed in, but man,
he's been so good.
Used to be very, very good at baseball. He had a 2-run dinger in the 6th inning on the first pitch he saw. That was his 4th career first pitch home run. And Jake's just raking right now. Again, forgive the cliches, but Jake is Rake McCarthy. He is, Jacob, 19 for 41 in his 12 games. He's nearly hitting 500 over that span. And I mean, he hasn't been doing it with the power. He got a home run tonight, but again, it's mostly been just kind of dialed in and getting on base, getting hits. And I mean, this team, they're so weird to say this, like their DNA is still small ball. And someone in the chat said it in regards to the Phillies. The Phillies kind of played small ball against the Diamondbacks tonight. Like they didn't rely on the homers as much. They
dinked and dunked.
Well, extra base hits. They had a lot of extra base hits tonight, 7 extra base hits tonight. And they kept putting it to the Diamondbacks. It was exhausting to watch, especially, again, that the 6th inning there when things fell apart for Jordan Montgomery. Of course, he, with 2 outs, once again, and 1 on, gives up an RBI double to Weston Wilson that ties the game at 1. He walks the bases loaded before exiting the game. His line ends up being 5 2/3 innings pitched, 8 hits allowed, 4 earned runs, but it was 1 earned run.
Correct. All inherited runners. Yeah.
And see, this is the slap in the face about with this team, right? Like we can't have any reliable relievers, no matter how good they look, because Dylan Floro is a name that came up to a lot of people recently that they wanted to potentially see in that closer role. And given Floro comes in with the bases loaded, and inherits 3, base runners, and that's not an easy situation for any pitcher to get out of. But
there's 2 outs and you get paid to do a job.
We've seen Ginkel do it with 1 out, right? So I mean, again, at least the bullpen, even though they weren't extremely good today, they didn't keep the Diamondbacks in the game. At least they didn't get, exhausted. Yeah, Dylan Floro goes out there and just gets that one out in that inning. He gets a third of an inning pitched. Slade Ciccone gets the rest of the game. And he wasn't lights out Slade Ciccone one time through the rotation like we've seen him, but he went out there, gave the Diamondbacks 3 innings. Job. He gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs. The big difference there is that this bullpen at times has been lights out. This bullpen has been able to keep the opposition scoreless, and had they done that tonight, it would have given the Diamondbacks obviously a chance to get back in this game. And I mean, even if Floro could have just mitigated the damage and not allowed all 3 of those base runners that he inherited to score, but it is what it is.
You're about to go through the gauntlet too. Like the rotation you're about to face over the course of this weekend, 3 massive games, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're going to go toe to toe with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Chris. Like Sanchez is no slouch either. So like your bullpen, Slade did his job tonight. And for better or for worse, they lost this game, but you needed Slade to go 3 innings. For the fact that you're probably going to need your A guys all 3 days this weekend. Like you need the bullpen to be able to perform. It's not going to be an easy series, but realistically, you need to figure out how to get out of this weekend splitting this series. I mean, you at least need one, but like if you can get out of a 4-game series here with a split, I'd probably be happy.
That's loser talk, Jacob. That's loser talk.
You mean what do you expect? It's Zach Wheeler versus Ryan Nelson tomorrow.
Win the next 3 games. That's what I expect. Just like we thought today's game was advantage Diamondbacks pitching. Who knows what the hell happens tomorrow? Maze Devil 18 in the chat says, I will give $20 to anyone who actually knew who the hell Weston Wilson was before this game. I was fairly certain that they were talking about Deadpool. I was Wade Wilson. Did they say Wade Weston? Well, I'm pretty sure they said Wade Wilson, but you're right about that. And that was probably part of the frustrating part of the day, right? Like you had the big names doing damage, but so many of those hits came from Weston Wilson and guys in the bottom of the lineup. And that's the part that really the Diamondbacks blew it, at least on that side of the ball. Offensively, it pretty much was a lack of taking advantage of those opportunities. Diamondbacks went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They hit into 3 double plays. It's just
that'll do it.
That'll do it. But who did do it is Jake McCarthy, and of course, for that reason, Jake McCarthy is our king snake of tonight's game. Jake was 3 for 5 with that home run and 3 RBI.
Look at that hair.
He did it there late in the 9th inning as well. I think that was probably even more impressive considering, the Diamondbacks really didn't seem, they kind of seemed dead in the water there late, and of course, Estevez is a very good relief pitcher. We've covered him. It was a guy that we wanted the Diamondbacks to go after that the Phillies recently acquired at the trade deadline. They were able to get to him, not enough, but they were able to score a run and at least rally late and make it interesting. Unfortunately, they fall short. Now, again, like you said, I mean, you're not wrong. Like splitting the series definitely should.
That's a win against a good baseball team. It's a win.
Yeah. And that's what they need to do. The unfortunate part is that really when these two teams collided, they were kind of on completely different trajectories. And this win against the Dodgers, the series win, was their first series where they were 6 series losses in a row prior to this. So I blame the Dodgers once again for getting the Phillies all going.
They didn't play. The Dodgers didn't play tonight, so the division lead you only drop half a game there. Padres won. Unfortunately, they're just as hot as basically any team in baseball right now. But there's still 40 games left. Like
Braves lost by nearly a touchdown.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, there's still 40 games left. There's still so much baseball to be played. Honestly, it's one. Like, just breathe.
And that is there's something to be said for that. You're absolutely right. There's something to be said about the fact that we have been, scoreboard watching essentially for 2 months. And it's kind of felt like ridiculous considering how much baseball was left to play. Now look at the position the Diamondbacks are in. I mean, we're talking about them going for the National League West Division. Are we drunk? But that's a real thing. They are actually in the fight for that division. Not to mention the fact that it's getting, we're getting some more division there for the wild card race, and the Diamondbacks are kind of hanging in there and holding that spot. Nothing's guaranteed, though. As much time as you just addressed, there's that much time for them to blow it, right?
Sure.
So they have to stay hot, and they have to continue.
Yeah, they have to win baseball games.
To win baseball games.
They have to win.
And Jordan Montgomery gave them an opportunity. Obviously, he left the game with bases loaded, and that wasn't great. But prior to that, at least, he started to look much better than we've seen him throughout the course of this season. He was, like I said, he was actually getting swing and misses on his pitches. So there's some things to be encouraged about in this game, even though it was a loss, including the fact that this felt like a 6-1 loss, but the Diamondbacks made it a 6-4 loss, and they made it a competitive ball game. And that's what they've been doing lately. They've been giving themselves opportunities to win. Tonight, they just really couldn't take advantage. But anyway, well, we thank all of you wonderful people for being here, even if you claim to be a Phillies fan or not. Of course, if you have not subscribed to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, do so right now. I think I saw Cody Del Mendo in here. Get Cody the hell out of here. No, Cody can go. I appreciate all of you guys being here except Cody. Of course, make sure if you subscribe to the channel, you also sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever our wonderful shows go live. Also, hit that like button. We love it when you drop us a like. It makes me feel good about myself, especially on a night like this where Phillies fans are being very mean to us on the account. They really think we're Derek, bent out of shape about this loss, Jacob. Oh my God, I called you Jesse.
They're hurt. They're still hurt because at the end of the day, this was a regular season game, and we still planted our flag in
that flag field. Planting hurt a lot of feelings. Yeah, forever. They're always going to hate us for that. But of course, if you're listening on the audio podcasting side, you probably heard me call Jacob Jesse much more than maybe the viewers did. Make sure you're subscribed on your favorite audio podcasting app, and also leave us a review. We appreciate that feedback. Those 5-star reviews definitely mean the world to us. And of course, Bet365 means the world to us because Bet365 makes sports more fun. And of course, they make live in-game betting more fun. They pioneered live in-game betting, and they have the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. So make sure to not miss out on the fun that you can have while you are in the middle of a sporting event and doing the live betting on it. Of course, you also can get down on some baseball bets because Bet365 does have their early payout offer for baseball, where you're a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs with an instant payout. Parlay and same game parlay selections will be marked as winners. So make sure to bet on baseball over at Bet365. Right now, new customers can use our code of PHNX365 and choose between 2 offers. All you got to do is deposit $10 and choose between either a bet and get offer, where you place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer, where you can place up to $1,000 bet. And if your qualifying bet loses, you will receive a matched refund in bonus bets. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why it is never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. All right. Well, I'm not saying that I'm in the market to replace our bullpen, but I'm just thinking about it. And if you are also thinking about replacing some of your personnel, you need Indeed. Of course, Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. And of course, it's not just about the speed. It is about matching you with quality candidates for the position and making sure those are qualified candidates so that you don't have to waste your time. Of course, Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Of course, ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the PHNX Diamondbacks podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Well, let's take a look at the count presented by Desert Financial Credit Union. to see exactly what happened in this one. And again, hitting with runners in scoring position and the Phillies' extra base hits were really the big difference in this one. Phillies outscore the Diamondbacks 6-4. They out-hit the Diamondbacks 14-11, 4 for 15 with runners in scoring position to the Diamondbacks 1 for 9. And of course, that one hit didn't come until the 9th inning. Extra base hits, the Phillies had 7 to the Diamondbacks 2 dingers. And of course, just like it always makes sense. The hard hit percentage, Diamondbacks 54.2% to the Phillies 40%.
Derek, I'm firmly convinced that we need to find a different stat for the end of that graphic because it never tracks.
No, I love it because baseball doesn't make any goddamn sense, Jacob. And sometimes that's proven by the hard hit percentage when we look at these stats after this game. Again, the Diamondbacks just really couldn't figure it out with runners in scoring position, and they had 9 opportunities there to do so.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to watch sometimes, but that's just baseball. There are days where you could hit a ball 50 miles an hour and it's going to find its way into the outfield, and there just happens to be a runner on second and third at the time. And there are days where you're going to hit a 111 mile an hour screamer right at somebody and a double play gets turned on you because baseball, right? I mean, it's just like it's what keeps us coming back. At the end of the day, like, I'm probably going to turn on my TV at 6:40 tomorrow night too to watch them face Zach Wheeler. Like, these things happen. They happen.
Jacob, I'm going to pull the curtain back a little bit for our audience, and I'm going to tell them how sometimes I can't think of a headline. And in those instances, as much as I hate it, as much as it pains me to have to admit to Jesse Friedman that I need his help, I turn to Jesse and I say, hey, do you have any suggestions for a headline? And I want to quickly read to you what Jesse's suggestion for a headline was. And it was not even a good one. It wasn't even really helpful, Jacob. He said, maybe something about the Diamondbacks magic running out. And my response was, Jesus, Jesse, it's one game. Like, it's one game. We're going to say the magic has ran out because they lost one goddamn baseball game by a score of 6-4. That seems a little hyperbolic. I thought I was the one that was supposed to overreact here, Jacob. I thought that was my job. If Jesse's overreacting, then what do I do? What am I supposed to do with myself?
They just swept the Guardians, and he said their magic has run out because they just played a doubleheader yesterday and lost by 2 runs.
Well, again, he then explained his feelings on it are different than mine. He's not saying like, oh, the team's like done. He's just saying like they've been on a fairly magical run sweeping that Guardians team, and they've won a lot of games in a row. So it's been a fun run, but this is just one game in this series. Like, we could revisit this if they get swept by the Phillies, right? Which
sure, a 4-game sweep would really, really hurt.
That would feel like the magic is gone, right? And I mean, honestly, maybe even the Phillies taking 3 out of 4 would pretty much feel like the magic is gone, but it doesn't mean it actually is. The Diamondbacks are still in the thick of it. And
they get the Rockies after this.
They get the Rockies. Oh, please don't do that. I tried to do that, and then the Rockies started beating very good teams, and we want to do that. But I mean, the road ahead is tough. We've talked about it prior to this. This is not an easy gauntlet that they have before them. Luckily, they were able to go into Cleveland and take somehow all 3 games, right? So that's impressive, and it's a great start. And from this point forward, of course, you still have a fight for a lot of things going on, but I'm not ready to say the magic is gone.
Oh, no, it's absolutely not gone. Watching Josh Bell roll into 2 double plays certainly made me feel like maybe a little bit of magic was gone, though.
Yeah. Well, today, I mean, Ketel's swings made me feel like I wanted to go into a cave and die. Some of Ketel's at bats tonight made me never want to watch baseball ever again. But
yeah,
it's normal stuff.
I miss Christian Walker tonight. This was like the first night that I was like, man, I miss that guy.
See, we can leave it up to our guy Mike Dreckman, of all people, known fighter of the Phillies, known hero of the Diamondbacks community. He said just came off a doubleheader and fielded a team tonight that was not our everyday team. There it is. And I mean, again, the Diamondbacks have had some substantial losses recently, including Christian Walker, including Gabriel Moreno, and they're still trying to figure out ways to overcome that. Not to mention the changes in their bullpen that have kind of left things a bit erratic. But that's not going to stop people from overreacting, Jacob. And that's not going to stop me from throwing shade at those people. So I don't know. Let's do this. Why are we overreacting? It is one game. It is one game. Let's not overreact. Let's not talk about the magic being gone, Jesse Friedman. Let's not talk about this team going into some catastrophic downward spiral. It's just one game, and they're going to lose games. I know we've been so accustomed to watching them win lately that it's hard to imagine, hard to fathom them losing a goddamn baseball game. But they did, and it's okay. Sometimes you take L's, and you got to move on and come back tomorrow. As Torey will say in the post-game press conference, we're going to flush this one, and we're going to come out fresh tomorrow. That's all I got. I don't have enough energy. I'm also
I was going to let you just kind of handle that one. I saw that one, the rundown, and I was like,
That's all right. Well, of course, I do appreciate you guys so much, and I do appreciate Shady Rays because the future is still very bright for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Jacob. You should plan accordingly with a good pair of sunglasses, and you should get them from our friends at Shady Rays. Of course, Shady Rays has a quality quality sunglasses with hundreds of styles to match your face. They are an independent sunglass company with a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. So right now, check out all they have to offer. And of course, we talk about it all the time on the show. They have the craziest lost and replacement plan in all of eyewear, and it's perfect for guys like me who walk into Circle K and set my sunglasses down on the counter and then check out and then get my little bag of stuff, and including Max's stupid fountain beverage that he made me get, and then I walk out and I leave my sunglasses on the counter, never to be seen again. Shady Rays says they have your back and my back long after we make that purchase. They will replace your Shady Rays, no questions asked, even if you lose them on day one. They will also, of course, allow you to exchange them for a new pair or return them within 30 days if you don't love your Shady Rays. Again, their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. Once again, the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And of course, again, I mentioned Circle K. I'm thirsty. I got myself a 4 Peaks beer from a 15-pack I got at Circle K. I'm going to pop that bad boy open because even in losses, we still need beverages, right? We still need to drink ourselves to sleep. And also, we need to get good deals. So if you haven't signed up for the Inner Circle yet, what are you waiting for? There's a Circle K by you. I know it. If you live here in Arizona, there's one by all of us. And of course,
got like 7 within a 2-mile radius of my house.
Yeah. Like basically when we leave the office, it just, am I going north, south, east, or west?
There's a Circle K there.
There's a Circle K there, right? But of course, if you join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today, you can save yourself 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You'll save 3 cents per gallon every day after that. And again, no reason not to do so. You'll get all sorts of free snacks and drinks in the app as well. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. All right. Well, of course, I love all of you guys so much. I love our diehards, maybe just a little bit more. There's got to be a ranking system, right? Like everybody can't be ranked evenly. And of course, if you want to be part of that group, you can join us over at gophnx.com. Check out a diehard membership. You'll get all sorts of wonderful benefits, including a free t-shirt like this one I'm wearing right now. You could choose this one or whichever one you like from the phnxlocker.com. You can also get yourself all sorts of wonderful content from us, including all of Jesse's original content. You can get access to our Discord, which is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. And we have all sorts of extra stuff for you guys over there as well. Not to mention discounts to our events. We had an absolute blast out at the Chase Field pool. I can't say that enough. That was probably my favorite day of watching baseball.
I was jealous, It's the one part of that stadium that I haven't sat, and I just couldn't make it because somebody had to keep the ship afloat back at the office.
Somebody had to do this. Somebody had to do it. We thank you. But I will say this: we did get complimented on the fact that we were like the group with the most people in the pool that they have ever seen.
Why buy pool tickets if you're not going to use the pool?
I don't know the answer to that, Jacob. I guess the only thing is that we've basically we've shamed each other to the point where we are so self-conscious that nobody wants to be seen in a bathing suit on television, and that's a very real possibility that you could get captured on television. Ask our friend Brett Johnson about that. But of course, this is all the wonderful things that we do together as a diehard community. We thank so many of you guys for joining us and being part of our family. And of course, again, if you're interested in doing so, make sure to check out all we have to offer over here with our diehard membership. Jesse is running late.
He's sending videos right now, and let me tell you, it's all about me being fatigued. That's all these videos are. He's asking the players, is Jacob being fatigued affecting his performance? And it is.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm feeling really affected by my fatigue right now.
I made a decision a while ago that I was no longer going to do this ridiculous thing of staying up late to watch Futurama and ruin my body by not getting proper.
You liar, because you definitely still do. I know you still do.
I have been getting, Jacob, so much sleep lately. I feel great. Sure, sex is great, but have you ever tried getting 8 hours of sleep consecutively uninterrupted? It's amazing. Oh my God. But yeah, no. See, you get exhausted, you get tired, you get grumpy. You're yelling at me, you're yelling at Jesse.
When was I yelling at anybody?
Theoretically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really yell though, do I?
No. You curse, but in a very quiet, direct manner.
I mean, I curse, yeah. I just like shit.
Like that right there. Roger Beshens, by the way, in the chat says, keep Jesse away from the pool. He gets the sniffles. He absolutely does not. He just has the sniffles all the time. It's bad allergies. B says Jacob's heater lost some velo, no doubt. How are you feeling about your command? At least you got a good feel for.
I think I could hit a corner at about 57 miles an hour right now.
I don't think you could.
I think I could.
I don't think you could. I think we need to get out there, just like the batting cages. We need to go out there and have a challenge again. But I think what was for you the most disappointing part of tonight's game? I mean, was it the fact that we've grown so?
Yeah, the double plays hurt me. The double plays hurt me a little bit. I think that always just kills me more than a lot of other things, just because you get a rally going and all of a sudden it's like, boom, dead. Like you get first and second, one out, and you're like, oh, we got something cooking. And it's like, well, inning's over. Fudge. Like,
because you start to believe in this offense and you start to think at any time they can get going. And, then we get to say funny things like, don't let the snakes get hot. But, like this team, especially lately, like there was a point during the season where if they were down by 2 runs or more, we were all checked out. You know what I mean? Because there was no reason to be checked in with how rare it was that this team came back from a 2-run deficit. Now they went out there and they started making us believe that this team can come back from any deficit.
Yeah, like, it doesn't matter what the deficit is, right?
No deficit is too big, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd rather be disappointed because I have a good baseball team than like expecting to lose every game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like I don't know, like,
because I've said that about some of the comebacks. Like they've had comebacks where they ended up losing the game.
Yeah.
And people in the chat, Jesse, other people have said like that was way more painful than just losing like a 7-1 game. And I don't feel that way, because I feel like I want to see my team fight even if they lose, and I don't feel like it's more painful just because they got close. I understand the sentiment. I definitely do. But it's also one of those things that when you are talking about the course of a 162 game season, you just have no way to understand how winning or even coming close to a comeback can propel your team, going forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're like, here's the thing. They lost this game 6-4, and they could go out tomorrow and win 6-4. And it's like, poof, everything that happened tonight doesn't matter anymore.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it's more over the course of the series, but
Sure.
we've gotten to the point now where we're just expecting them to win more baseball games than they lose. And this team was hot, and that's how baseball goes. But then sometimes the pendulum swings the other way. I'm not ready to declare that the magic is dead, but I'm ready to say, like, I understand how, the wins are easier to forget about than the losses at times. And of
Sure.
course, if the Diamondbacks go out there and even lose, split this series with the Phillies, I'm sure some people are going to consider it to be, a disappointment, a loss overall. I say once again, if they can keep that streak of not losing a series going, whether it's a split or a win, then that's a win at this point. But
no, yeah, a split. I mean, honestly, like they could also just go win all 3 of these games. Like they're still a hot baseball team right now. Like even hot baseball teams have off nights.
yeah,
Like you just never really know. And they've shown that they can go toe to toe with anybody. Doesn't matter who it is.
it's true.
Doesn't matter what the moment is. Like they're gonna go toe. They're gonna give you everything that they have. And tonight, even though we're talking about this game like they looked awful, and at points they did, but at the end of the day, it was a 2-run baseball game.
Yeah.
In the 9th inning, where they had the tying run at the plate, like I don't know.
No, I'm with
it's
you.
hard.
I'm
Yeah,
with you. They still made
it's
a game
hard
out of
to.
it.
Yeah, it's hard to really just dwell on this for a long time.
Right. And again, I don't know. They had a chance. They had a shot. Maybe that's why for me it's just you said the double plays. I'm going with the 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, but for the same reasons that you said, the double plays. It's just the fact that they just couldn't get anything done when they had guys out there, and they had plenty of opportunities. With how close this game ended up being, it's frustrating that they weren't able to convert one or more of those runners in scoring position. But of course, it is time for us to get some more information from Chase Field, including an update on Gabby Moreno and some more from the clubhouse with my Thunderstick and your vice mayor, the one and only Jesse Friedman. Jesse, this loss, even though it's not, you'd still consider a 2-run loss to be kind of a close game. It just for some reason felt like it was a more substantial loss than it really was. We're trying to just be rational about it and say it's just one game, but for some reason this one felt like a pretty bad loss.
I mean, I think it's just the general idea that like Diamondbacks fans have forgotten what it's like to lose at this point, right? I mean, it just feels like it just hasn't happened lately at all. I think you probably already mentioned that this is the second time that we've done a post game show after a loss in like the last month, I believe. So yeah, this is strange. But yeah, it is. The Diamondbacks like Jock Peterson didn't come up and tie the game with a late game homer, right? Like these things that we're used to seeing. I guess it would have been tough in that spot because granted, even if he had homer, the D-backs still would have trailed by a run at that point. But you get the idea. Like the Diamondbacks just didn't have the late game magic tonight that they have had pretty much. It feels like in any situation that they've needed it here over the last several weeks. And yeah, it's, but that's going to happen sometimes, right? Like in baseball, you're not going to be able to come through in that kind of way every single day. So yeah, it's just one of those days, Derek, where you just kind of dust yourself off and, come back tomorrow and try to face a very, very difficult opponent in Zach Wheeler. It certainly is not going to be an easy one tomorrow night.
I want to give a shout out to Daniel Wren, who might be my new favorite Phillies fan. He said, as a Phillies fan, it's one game, 3 games too good. D-backs are still a top tier team. They will find a way to keep winning games. We thank you, Daniel. And I'm perplexed by your kindness, and I appreciate it. Jesse, of course, other Phillies fans not being very nice to us on our account, and for good reason, because they haven't had a chance to celebrate too many victories since the All-Star break. So it's understandable that they're taking a lap on this one. But it's also because these two teams don't like, it's not like the players probably hate each other or anything, but it feels like this is becoming a bit of a rivalry.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime you play 7 games in an NLCS, like, yeah, that's gonna stick around for a while. There's gonna be something there, and I don't know if the D-backs Phillies rivalry goes as deep as Phillies Braves or Phillies Mets, like
No,
those
no,
matchups
it
that
never
are
will. It never
probably
will.
probably never will. But there's certainly a little bit something extra there after what happened last year. I was talking with our friend Jamie Lynch from PHLY earlier today, and he was referring to Chase Field as a house of horrors for the Phillies and for Phillies fans. So there's absolutely something to that. But yeah, I mean, ultimately the Diamondbacks in this game, like Jordan Montgomery was better. That's something we've said for I feel like quite a few of his outings lately, where it wasn't quite the Jordan Montgomery of old that maybe you're looking for, but it felt like a step in the right direction. There were certainly some encouraging signs there. But yeah, the Diamondbacks were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and not only 1 for 9, but out of those 8 outs, 4 of them were strikeouts. There were 2 double plays in there as well. They just could not come through in those big moments when they really needed to.
Oh, what do you have for the clubhouse? Because I know the first thing I want to get to isn't really related to this game, but it's related to the loss of Gabby Moreno. There were some mixed comments from Torey Lavallo beforehand, and again, Jose Herrera, whatever. Adrian Del Castillo, whatever. Like, those guys are fine, but Gabby Moreno is very important to this team, and it sounds like the Diamondbacks may have just lost him for the season.
Yeah, I guess we'll start there. Torey he definitely did not say that they've lost him for the season. His answer was basically that he's going to miss at least several weeks. So we know that this is not going to be a minimum 10-day IL stint like his previous trip to the injured list. And Torey was also specifically asked, is it possible that Gabby winds up missing the season with this? And he said, I'm going to choose to remain optimistic. My gut is that he will be back with us this season. And he also talked about how when he was asking some of the medical staff that very same question, he was getting positive feedback. It seemed like there was a good chance Gabby would be back this year. Ultimately, though, the D-backs are still just waiting on further opinions on the imaging. I believe it was yesterday that Gabby had an MRI. So as of right now, we still just know it's a strained left groin, and maybe by tomorrow we'll be able to say definitively well, not definitively. It's never definitive, as we've seen the last few months with injuries, but we'll have a better read on exactly what the prognosis is, hopefully tomorrow.
Well, that sucks, and that's a definite hit to this team. But one thing that they have done a good job of, at least lately, is kind of rebounding from these injuries. And, again, we've talked a bit about Josh Bell and what it's meant for Christian Walker to miss time, to have Josh Bell there. Perhaps Adrian Del Castillo can still be that double machine he is in the PCL for the Major League roster. I'm not sure if he's going to get much playing time next to Jose Herrera. Obviously, he's going to have to, because Torey will never play his catchers every single day. But
right,
I don't know. I mean, right now it feels a bit frustrating because this team, they just kind of squandered the opportunities they had tonight. And it's not like they didn't have a tremendous amount, but they still had 8 opportunities that they weren't able to convert a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, they had a pretty decent number of opportunities in this game for sure. I mean, you look at the first inning, right? You've got first and second with 1 out after a couple of singles. Josh Bell on the first pitch grounds into an inning-ending double play. In the second inning, Randall Grichuk singles to lead off the frame. And then immediately he is also erased on a double play, that by Gino Suarez. Nothing happened in the third, really. Nothing happened in the fourth. But then you get into that 5th inning, where Eugenio Suarez hits the homer off the foul pole. D-backs take a 1-0 lead, and they had an opportunity to really tack on some runs in that situation. Kevin Newman, Geraldo Perdomo both singled after that solo home run. And then there's also a double play in that situation that ended the inning, that off the bat of Jose Herrera. And then even in that 6th inning as well, Jake McCarthy hits the big 2-run homer. That was the first home run that Orion Kerkering has ever allowed, which absolutely blew my mind. I'm guessing people didn't have Jake McCarthy in their heads necessarily as the one who had hit it. It was a pretty impressive swing. But you get a couple runs on the board. You make it 4-3 at that point. and you got a chance to tie the game, maybe even take the lead. Lourdes Gurriel singled, Josh Bell walked, and then you had Randall Grichuk, Eugenio Suarez, and Kevin Newman all up against the right-handed Orion Kerkering. All three of those guys retired, in a situation that started first and second, nobody out. So they let quite a few opportunities squander. I mean, the 8th inning, first and second, one out as well. The 9th, they were able to make a little bit of noise, tack on a run there, but it obviously wasn't enough. So there were quite a few missed opportunities for the D-backs in this game. I thought it was interesting, Derek. We'll get to some clips here in a moment. Torey said that, people may be questioning is some of the decisions he made in this game. Why did he leave Jordan Montgomery in as long as he did? We'll get to that in a second. But Torey said that one regret he does have from this game is in the 6th inning where it was first and second, nobody out, as I was just describing. You've got Orion Kerkering on the mound and Randall Grichuk at the plate. And the Phillies at that point had a lefty warming in the bullpen. I believe it was Tanner Banks. And Torey knew that if he had pinch hit for Randall Grichuk and brought in a left-handed hitter, that Rob Thompson was going to counter and bring in that left-handed pitcher. However, what Torey says he wished he had done was have Corbin come in and bunt left on left, advance those runners to second and third with one out. And then you'd have a lefty on the mound with Eugenio Suarez and Kevin Newman coming up. And those would be much more favorable matchups for them as opposed to facing Orion Kerkering, who's been one of the best right-handed relievers in all of baseball this year. So that's something I didn't even think of. Like in my head, it was pretty simple. You don't want to pinch hit Jock Peterson or Corbin Carroll in the spot because you know that Rob Thompson's going to counter and bring in a lefty, and then you're probably in a worse situation than you started. But that was a regret that Torey said he had, and I can understand how, maybe if he does that, maybe that 6th inning ends a little bit differently.
I imagine Torey has a lot of regrets in baseball games, right? I mean, we've even heard him say at times he doesn't like you can't sit there and dwell too much on it because obviously it's just going to drive you crazy. At the same time, too, you have to become a better manager. You got to learn from your mistakes in the past. I think that throughout the course of this season, we've seen him adapt how he manages this team to try to get the most and try to play to their, strengths, right? And of course, we've seen him do that with the bullpen, but the bullpen tonight just didn't, again, you're putting Dylan Floro in a really bad spot of having him go out there with the bases loaded. However, he's expected to just get one out, and that's kind of his job as a reliever. He's been incredibly reliable for this team up to this point. And of course, just like everybody in the pen, Jesse, he had to have his bad day.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I believe Dylan Floro, when he was with the Nationals, was not particularly great at stranding inherited runners. Obviously, he was put in a tough position there. With the bases loaded, Trey Turner 2-run single, Bryce Harper with the single eventually does get out of the inning. The D-backs just couldn't get the last out in that 6th inning and save their lives, right? I mean, you had a runner at first base with 2 outs. Jordan Montgomery is an out away from getting through 6 scoreless innings, and then the inning just sort of unravels from there, right? He winds up giving up a double to Weston Wilson. That brought in a run, tied the game. And then Johan Rojas, he's, their light hitting center fielder. You feel like you got a good shot to get him. He winds up walking Johan Rojas, which is a big moment. And then he gets 0-2 on Kyle Schwarber, winds up walking him as well. And then Dylan Floro came in and continued to struggle. That was really the difference in that game. I mean, if Jordan Montgomery is able to find a way to make a big pitch in that 6th and get out of that inning unscathed, his line would look a whole lot different. And maybe the Diamondbacks would have found a way to win this game.
Well, what do you have from the clubhouse, Jesse?
Yeah, well, we'll start with Torey. This is Torey talking specifically about Jordan Montgomery and how he felt he was actually pretty good today.
Jordan Montgomery threw the ball really good today. His line score doesn't look as good as it could have because he left with the base loaded. I think he got a little fatigued. Walking the 9-hitter, I think was the biggest turning point in the inning. Then he had one more shot at it with Schwarber and made some pitches to him, but just couldn't finish him off. And just some balls get through the infield with Floro on the mound. I like those matchups. We just didn't get it done, but we kept fighting. And that's one of the great characteristics of this team. We had some situations in the 8th, we had some situations in the 9th, and we came up a little short. So I'm not. This team's playing good baseball. I'm not going to worry so much about this game as I typically would after a loss. We'll be fine. We've got to get a good night's rest and come out tomorrow. Like I said, I thought Jordan threw the ball real good. He had good life on his fastball. You could see that there was a lot of swing and miss with the secondary stuff because of that fastball life. So the breaking ball at the bottom and the changeup was swing and miss as well. And it was a good day. It was a good day for him.
I'm reading Phillies fans' comments on Twitter, Jesse, and they are unhinged, to say the least. No, we're not mad. We've watched this team lose before. This is nothing new to us. In fact, I would counter to say it seems like you're mad after your team won, which is a weird place to be. But I also want to give a shout out to Kevin Conqueso in the chat. He said, "Bright side, I got a claptrap popcorn bucket today." Good for you, Kevin. I heard that movie was awful. I hope it's not because I want it to be good, but things don't look good for that. Johnny Walker, again, an old friend of mine, says, "Go D-backs." Thank you, Johnny Walker, for your super chat. We appreciate you guys so much. Jesse, what else you got from the clubhouse?
Yeah, I will say real quick, I didn't cut video of this, but I did ask Jordan Montgomery a question that I saw at least someone put in the chat. Did Torey consider taking Jordan Montgomery out of this game sooner? Obviously, things unraveled a little bit for him. And Torey said no. He said that given where the D-backs were in the bullpen, he talked about how there were a lot of guys who were available if needed in this game, but that he was really trying to stay away from. Obviously, coming off a doubleheader puts you in a bit of a tricky spot. So, yeah, Torey was trying to get everything he could out of Jordan Montgomery. And he said that with how he was pitching up until that point, he was actually
75 pitches.
Yeah, he said he was actually looking at letting Jordan Montgomery pitch through Bryce Harper, which would have been the fourth time through the order. Once things went south a little bit, he changed course and just had Montgomery pitch through Kyle Schwarber, which you could argue was a little bit too long. So, hindsight is certainly 20/20 on that, but Torey very much stood by that decision. Another narrative, Derek, I kind of mentioned it there. The D-backs did just play a doubleheader yesterday. It's been a long couple of days for them.
You brought that up.
Yeah, Torey was asked about whether fatigue was a factor in this game, and he seemed to believe that it could have been.
Maybe a little bit of mental fatigue, and it's hard to focus in these types of games. Normally you're engaged for 2 hours and 40 minutes straight, clean game. I think when you're a little bit mentally fatigued, you're in and out a little bit. And I don't know. You have to ask the guys. They tricked me a little bit. I think physically they looked like they were where they needed to be, but maybe having a tough time engaging for 2 hours and 40 minutes because they're a little mentally gassed.
Is that kind of what you chalk up Ketel in the past too?
A little bit. Yeah, I asked a lot of Ketel yesterday to play 2 games, and then come out and DH today. I'd been talking to him through it, and he's a very gifted athlete, and I think he was just a little bit gassed out. Yeah, for sure.
It's totally understandable, especially considering that the doubleheader wasn't it wasn't in plans. It was just something that happened, and they had to deal with it. And it happens to a lot of baseball teams throughout the course of the season. It's just obviously a big reason why today, especially when you look at some of those at bats, we talked about Ketel Marte's at bats specifically, Jesse, just looking very, very lost at the plate, I guess I should say. Like, he struck out on some of the worst pitches I've seen him strike out on all season long.
Yeah, it's something that we've seen from Ketel in the past, like in a big spot where he can be a little over aggressive at times and just be swinging at everything, swinging at pitches in the dirt. But yeah, we really haven't seen that version of Ketel in quite a while, and it very much seemed out of character. You can hear Torey talking there about how, it's been a long couple of days, as we were saying earlier. Ketel played second base in both games of the doubleheader yesterday. Obviously, the D-backs like to be a little bit more careful with him in particular, given his injury history. So understandable for sure. We did ask Jake McCarthy after the game about whether fatigue was a factor, and unsurprisingly, he wasn't willing to use that as an excuse. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, it's it's August, we're all tired, right? It's like this it's a long season. I don't think that's an excuse. We're on game 100 and so it's like I don't think that's an excuse right now.
You asked the man that went 19 for 41 in his last 12 games if that he was fatigued. That's the wrong guy to ask. That guy is dialed in. My man had a home run today. He was 3 for 5. I mean, Jake's been impressive. And yeah, I mean, he's probably right. Like, it's, again, playing 2 baseball games in one day. Yeah, but they also got an impromptu day off the day before. I'm sure the travel and stuff made it hard. Jesse's traveled with me. I'm a big baby when I travel. I don't like traveling. I get very quiet and I just want to get home or where we're going really fast. So I get it. But I mean, again, this is a tough team. No matter how good or bad they were playing coming into this, they're still a very, very good team. And again, you got to be on your A game to take on the Phillies.
Last thing from the clubhouse, Derek, this was probably the most interesting soundbite we got. On the subject of fatigue, but more just like normal fatigue, we asked Jordan Montgomery as the game was progressing, kind of how he felt, if he was feeling a little bit worn down as the game went along. And here is what Jordan Montgomery had to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's like pitching in a jungle here sometimes. I don't know how it gets so humid, but I swear it's less humid in St. Louis during the summer than here. But we got to just battle through it.
Merrill called it swampy at one point.
Yeah, maybe we need to open the roof or something. It's crazy.
No, I don't need another starting pitcher that thinks it's too hot at Chase Field. It is too hot. He's right. Turn up the air conditioning. We've talked about this. I don't know what to do. The humidity thing's weird. Also, somebody that wears a long sleeve shirt under his jersey, complaining about it being hot. That's also weird.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But yeah, obviously, we've heard this before, right? Merrill Kelly, this is a storyline for a while last year about how it was a little warm in Chase Field, and specifically talking about the humidity, and Merrill talking about how, maybe that was contributing to him cramping up a bit at times. So yeah, I mean, I understand, like, as someone who's just sitting up in the press box, I'm not on the field working really hard and, exerting a whole lot of energy. And I also find myself a little bit warm in this ballpark from time to time. Yeah. So it's not an alarming thing. I mean, they announced that the indoor temperature before every game, it's pretty much always 77 or 78 degrees, which to me seems pretty reasonable. But like all of us around this time of year,
keep your AC when you're home at 78, Jesse?
Yeah, well, yeah, I generally do, but I recognize that I'm sort of a crazy person who's also a cheapskate and doesn't want to spend that much money on air conditioning. The Diamondbacks, you'd hope maybe wouldn't be in that position, would be able to make it comfortable. But there's two sides to this. Like, on the other hand, like the Atlanta Braves don't have a roof at all. And that, you want to talk about a swampy environment there. So
let's talk about Choctaw Stadium. Can we talk about Choctaw Stadium? Can we talk about how hot it was in that stadium when we were there, just walking from one side to the other? And that was an actual stadium that games were played there outdoors during the summer. Like, it's crazy to me that we're spoiled with Chase Field, especially when it comes to things like a weather delay. What the hell is that? Even though we've actually had one of those at Chase Field, which is hilarious.
we've had some crazy things happen at Chase Field this year. We had the B-Day. We had
B-Day. B-Day was a great day. Yeah, B-Day was a great day. But I will say this, though, in regards to Jordan Montgomery, even though his answers might not be the most fascinating, interesting things, I love how honest he is at times. Like, they asked, like, was fatigue a factor? And again, like you said, Jake McCarthy would be like, no, all teams are going through. It's August. We're all tired. It's all whatever. And he's like, did you get tired through that game? Yeah, it's hot in here. Like, yes, it's hot. I did get tired because it's hot.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly appreciate that as a member of the media. I'm always happy when players say anything remotely interesting or, are a little bit more forthright than we're used to at times.
Yeah,
so
we appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciated that for sure. But Montgomery, we don't have other video of him, but I'll just give a quick synopsis, which is that he was pretty pleased with this outing. He felt like his changeup and his curveball were both working pretty well. And I agree with that. It was really just was really just that 6th inning where he just couldn't get that final out. And even then, if Dylan Floro is able, if that Trey Turner grounder goes to Geraldo Perdomo instead of perfectly landing in that 5-6 hole, then you're looking at a very different line for Montgomery. At the same time, he did allow a lot of base runners. I mean, he allowed 8 hits. He allowed, I think it was 3 walks and also a hit batter. That's 12 total base runners in 5 2/3 innings. So at the same time, like this wasn't, I have to kind of put it the same way I've put it for a lot of his better starts this season, which is that it still didn't totally look like Jordan Montgomery of last year to me. There were some good moments. There were some very well executed pitches from time to time. You did see quite a bit of a swing and miss with the changeup in particular. I think today it's probably the best that we've seen that pitch look. But you're still looking for him to, miss a few more bats, find a way to limit the hard contact a little bit more. I think he's getting closer, but he still is not quite there.
Kevin Conqueso, who is very tired himself, says, drink water, Jesse, and everybody wants to make sure you stay hydrated because we need you back. We're going for another one tomorrow, and then Saturday, and then Sunday. And you're not out of the lineup. You are starting every single day. I hate to tell you that, but you're in there. Of course, we thank you guys all so much for being here. We will be back here tomorrow with another post-game show, so make sure to come back, and hopefully we have some better results for you tomorrow night. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, our show is at PHNX_DBacks. I would be terrible if I didn't bring up the man on the 1s and 2s tonight. That's Father Overlord Jacob Franklin. You can follow him at Jacob_Franklin4 because he's the 4th best Jacob Franklin on the internet. Of course, again, all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for your time tonight. Again, we'll see you back here tomorrow. We hope you have a wonderful evening, and we also hope we get some better results tomorrow. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you plant your flag at the bank in Philadelphia.
We all silly like the mayor.